What's up, guys? Specstar here today with my finale for March Madness. I've got my final battles up here to wrap this thing up and get this thing concluded. And for those of you who stick through, you will get to enjoy a thorough smackdown. So, I hope you guys stick through it. I'm adopting a new lazier, more cutting edge, ahead of the game, laying down recording style. And I'm test marketing this to see how it works, if it keeps up with the trends. And I got my co-host here, Shadow the Chihuahua, who's going to be helping me with the commentary. So, starting out here, I got a battle against Crypto, my fellow Eldir. And he's got himself a team consisting of Megalopony, Skarmory, Zeraora, Crocodile, and Duosion. This man had the audacity to just come out and bring Duosion against the man who innovated it, put it on the map. I am calling that disrespect, and I am very much going to be holding that against him in this matchup. And Tangrowth. So, for my team, I've got a Medicham, which is physically defensive with Bulk Up and Recover, which is the Lopunny counter, the good old-fashioned OU Lopunny counter. And then I've got my Landorus, which is modest with Defog, Sludge Wave, Hidden Power Electric, and Earth Power. And Poisonium Z, which will help me deal with... It helps with Tangrowth, and Earth Power into Poisonium Z would take out Duosion. Weavile, which is banded. Zeraora, which is also banded. Suicune, which is Substitute, Protect, Calm Mind, and Extra Sensory, which is for the Toxapex, which did not come. And Roserade, which is physically defensive with Synthesis, Sleep Powder, Sludge Bomb, and Hidden Power Electric, right. Hidden Power Electric, just a good coverage to hit both Pex and Skarm. So let's get this show on the road. Oh. Who's there? Is it just my rock hard abs? That's what the gains are. That's why you hit the gym. Bust your butt. Get these rock hard abs. Anyway, let's hit that play button. So, he is going to lead off with his Skarmory, and I am going to lead off with my Landorus. I'm just going to go right for my Hidden Power Electric to hit this thing. He's going to set up a spike, and seeing what he wants to do, I am just going to quickly defog that away. He's going to switch out into a Crocodile, and that is fine with me, not particularly frightening to me. I'm just going to Earth Power that thing, get some nice damage off. He'll knock off, but I am Z-move. And we'll do a nice healthy 55%. Get that nice drop, which didn't particularly matter. He'll get up rocks, and I'm going to go for Hidden Power Electric, being a little over-aggressive. He's going to knock again, and I'm just going to defog, but sadly, eventually he will win this exchange. And I am just going to Earth Power again. Interestingly enough, he's going to bring out his Lopunny here, and I'm not going to have a difficult time dealing with it because I did not expect in the early games to have Rocks up on my side. I knew that his two Rock Setters were Skarmory and Crocodile, and Landorus could defog on both. What I didn't expect was him throwing away Crocodile early to keep them up, but it does make sense because he doesn't have too much of a Landorus switch in at all, so he's kind of forced to make a difficult decision. But here I am without a great Lopunny switch in. Without Rocks, Medicham would have been able to, but with Rocks, not so much. So I'm going to be forced to go into my Suicune here and make a difficult decision. Suicune doesn't have a very great matchup here with his 6 he did bring. So Lopunny's going to go right for Return. I'm just going to go for a Scald to kind of force out the Lopunny and kind of feel out how he's going to respond to this. He goes into Tangrowth. I wasn't actually able to calc because I was out playing this game on my phone, and my phone calc on... Well, the calc on my phone's browser is completely AIDS, so not something I can use with my obsessive compulsive disorder. People be seeing me on my phone with my face red, steam coming out of my ears. It's bad, but I'm going to think that he's got some special defensive bulk based on that. Coon's going to be forced out. I'm going to go into Roserade, which is my best response to this thing. He's going to go into Zero Aura. Roserade's already my Zero Aura answer, so I'm fine with that. I'm just going to go for Sleep Powder, which covers most of what he could do here. He goes for an Inferno Overdrive, which is interesting to see, but fortunately I land Sleep Powder and that Z is burned, and I'm able to synthesize all the way up before his sleep turns expire. I go for Synthesis here, and I'm going to go for another one to get to full before he wakes up. Unfortunately, though, he will get the first turn awake, which is a bit annoying. He's going to bulk out, and now I don't have at all a response to this, so I just gotta kind of deal with it with my Roserade. I'm gonna go for Sleep Powder, and then I'm gonna miss, and that's gonna really suck. First turn wake plus the Sleep Powder really needed to both be there to force my Roserade out there, but I'm gonna sack off my Landorus to the Zero Aura, taking one Fire Punch and dropping to the next. So here I'm going to bring in my Medicham. Closest thing I have to response to this thing. With his attack dropped, I can kind of get it off enough damage so that I can revenge kill it. He's going to go to Duocean though, opting to keep Zero healthy. And I'm going to be forced into Weavile here. And I will be exerting my pressure, so he's going to lose 2 Reflect PPs here. And I am going to go for my knockoff as he goes into Lopunny here. Not exactly the greatest start in the world for me. I'm going to be forced into my Suicune here, which is not the ideal switching on this thing, as we'll see as he's able to go for his high jump kick and be able to 2-hit KO the thing with return. Had to fix my position there. Next, I will go into my Medicham, which does, of course, force this thing out. He goes into Duocean, and I am going to actually make the aggressive double in my Weavile, predicting the Duocean, and its Reflect is going to wear off. I'm going to click Pursuit here as he switches out, and the Duocean will be gone, which makes things look a lot better for my Medicham, so that's good news. Less good news is Lopunny coming back in again. I'm going to be forced to sack up my Roserade here. It's the least important of the 4 mons I've got left. Lopunny is, again, it's going to bring out my Medicham. I'm going to go right for a bulk up, knowing he's forced out, and knowing that while bulked up, there isn't a Duocean to force me out anymore. So I'll go for my bulk up here. He goes in a Skarmory. That's fine. I'm just going to go right for my Drain Punch. We'll see if he's got Whirlwind here. If he doesn't, Brave Bird isn't going to be doing enough to really screw up with my Medicham at this bulk plus the boost. He's going to show that he does have the Whirlwind, and Zero Aura is going to come out here. I'm just going to click Fire Punch, which would KO this. Doesn't get immune to Zera and hits the Tangrowth. He's going to bring in his Tangrowth here, and I am just going to go for another Fire Punch here. I'm going to get a crit, but I don't believe that mattered, right? He doesn't have leftovers. Fire Punch would have 2 KO there regardless, so I'm going to pick it off with another Fire Punch, and the Tangrowth's going to go down here. He is going to bring in his Lopunny, and I'm fine with that because that brings Medicham in. I'm just going to sack off my Weavile here. If he subs up, I can pick off the sub with my Ice Shard. And then I get to bring in my Medicham here, and I'm looking for the Drain Punch switch in. He goes for return, and I am just going to get all that health back with Drain Punch. Nice and clean, up to 84%. He's going to bring in his Zero Aura, and my play is just to continue clicking Drain Punch. He's going to go for a Bulk Up. I could have predicted that and went for a Bulk Up myself, but if he went for a Plasma Fist, it might have been able to 2-hit KO if I did that. So I go right for the Drain Punch, and at +1, his Plasma Fist is going to do 57 to my physically defensive Medicham, which is going to be able to get out of range with the Drain Punch recovery. And from another Plasma Fist, we will survive and then take this thing out with our Drain Punch. So we are going to win this matchup and move on to the top 32, down from the starting 320. So that's pretty good, but we got hearts and minds set on gold, so we're going to move on here to our next battle against A12, who's got himself a team consisting of Mew, Mega Charizard X, Tangrowth, Drampa, Snorlax, Togekiss, and I've got a Medicham, which is Adamant, max speed with Double Edge and Fake Out, Landorus, which is physically defensive, special attacking, Weavile, which is banded, Suicune, which I believe was Sub-Calm Mind, Roserade, which was Synthesis, specially defensive with Spikes, and Steelix, which was specially defensive with Rocks. So, I believe I just wanted to lead off with Medicham here. He goes Charizard, I lead Medicham. I'm just going to fake this thing out. And I believe that risking any kind of trade here is worse for me than it is for him. Medicham is a really good matchup here. So I'm just going to want to go into my Landorus, as he opts to go for his Wisp. I believe here I'm going to go for Rocks, but I could be remembering this wrong. No, Sword Stance, that was my set, god damn it. I'm physically defensive, Flyinium Z, that was my set, there we go. I'm reminded because Tangrowth's going to come in, which is going to prompt me to go for my Sky Strike here. He is going to take nothing because he has the berry, and he has the HP Ice, so some good prep on his behalf there. I'm going to be forced into my Roserade as he goes for Synthesis. He goes into Snorlax as I set up my T-Spikes, which are pretty nice here. And I'm going to go into my Steelix, which can roar this thing out if it sets up. I'm going to set up my Rocks here as he goes into Togetic. When Togetic is the Steelix switch in, I'm going to go right for an Ice Fang here. And he is just content to leave Togetic in on Steelix, which, really doesn't make any sense to me. I don't have the Steel coverage in this game, but the fact that he's so content to risk it and roost at 79, I'm not really understanding what he's doing here. I bring in my Weavile on the Togetic. He decides that Togetic, not only is it the Steelix counter, it's also the Weavile counter, so he's going to stay in here as I click knock off, thinking he would do literally anything else because he needs Togetic to not lose to hazards. Instead, he is going to be very willing to let the Togetic go down, and I'm going to be forced into my Roserade as he doubles into Char X there. I'm going to have to sack off my Landorus as he goes for a Flare Blitz, and here I'm going to bring in my Suicune, and I'm going to sub up here. No, I went right for Toxic, right, that makes sense. I'm going to be forced into my Roserade as the Tangrowth's in. He's going to double into Mew. I'm going to switch back into Suicune, which can it can Toxic him if he gets off any status on me. He nasty plots up and gets a Psychic, and that special defense drop is going to force me out, which is really annoying. I'm going to have to go into my Weavile on what I predict to be a Psychic move. Psychic, of course. I'm going to be forced out into my Medicham here, believing he would click a fighting move. He does. I can fake this thing out and make sure Toxic wears it down better. He goes into Drampa hard on the Medicham, so I think if he's going into Drampa, he's got to have Protect, right? I mean, why else would he go into Drampa here? So I'm actually going to go P-Jab, predicting either the double into Togetic, which could also make sense, or the Protect. And he was just going to let me take it out with the fighting move, so I don't know what the hell. I bring in my Roserade here. I get up my Toxic Spikes. He can't hurt me now with the special attack drop, but he's actually going to show to be, in this matchup, he's going to show to be Berserk instead of Sap Sipper, which was a little odd, but not compared to anything else in this game. I'm going to have to go my Weavile to click Ice Shard on this thing. He goes out into Snorlax. I'm going to be forced to go into my Steelix here, as I've done before, and he's going to return. And I will be... Did I set on my Rocks or double here? I'm going to Roar, just kind of trying to spread my status a little bit. He brings in the Mew. He goes into Togetic again as I go for Earthquake. He's going to defog, and I'm going to just set up my rocks, forcing him to for sure do it again as I go into my Weavile. And I'm going to try to 2 KO this thing with my Ice Shard to give me a potential to win with Weavile. But things don't go that way because it's Mons. He then goes into Snorlax, now for the first time figuring out he doesn't want Togetic in on Weavile. I have to go into Steelix. And I'm going to double in a Weavile, thinking he's going to want to switch out. He goes into Togetic. I'm going to go for Ice Shard. Does damage, not enough. He's going to pick it off. I'm going to go into Suicune here. Just click Ice Beam, right? No, Scald. Yep, Scald. Get off some minor mediocre damage. I'll go into Steelix. He Giga Drains. Gets a crit. Just insult to injury at this point. And he goes for another Giga Drain as I go for my Ice Fang here, doing no damage. Less damage than the Scald. He's going to go into his Charizard X here, just trying to preserve differential for seemingly no reason. He'll take me out with the Fire Blast, or the Flare Blitz, different FB fire move. I go into Suicune, all I got left, just click Scald, and that is going to be the end of this game. You know what, Chi-Chi to him, he definitely came up in a big way here. I'm gonna lose this game, but I don't think I played poorly. My plays didn't work out, but I don't believe that in most situations they were the wrong plays. A lot of plays I think would have worked out in most situations didn't work out here based on people told me this guy was kind of random and I shouldn't really predict anything, but I didn't figure it was this random, and that'll get me. But it worked out for him, so Chi-Chi. I know you guys watching this enjoyed this game a lot more than I did, so that's what it's for. I'm gonna drop out in this tournament here after making the top 32. We had a decent enough run, but a painful ending. But speaking of painful, sometimes it takes a little pain to get these rock hard abdominals, you know what I'm saying? Rock hard. Boom! Didn't even feel it. Boom! Didn't even feel it. Felt it a little bit. But, takes pain to get these gains. That's what I'm saying. So, you know what? Sometimes if you want rock hard abs, you gotta lose to some random erratic players. That's what it's all about in life. Gains and pains. Thank you guys for watching. Have yourselves a good night.